Hello, my name is Emmanuel Morrow, and I will be reading a section from Chapter 5 of the Pickwick Papers, where the four men are headed to Manor Farm. It was late in the afternoon when the four friends and their four-footed companion turned into the lane leading to Manor Farm, and even when they were so near their destination, the pleasure that they would otherwise have experienced was materially dampened as they reflected on the singularity of their appearance and the absurdity of their situation. Torn clothes, lacerated faces, dusty shoes, exhausted looks, and, all above, the horse. Oh, how Mr. Pickwick cursed that horse! He had eyed the noble animal from time to time with looks expressive of hatred and revenge. More than once he had calculated the probable amount of expense he would incur from cutting his throat. And now the temptation to destroy him or to cast him loose upon the world rushed into his mind with tenfold force. He was roused from a meditation on these dire imaginings by the sudden appearance of two figures at the turn of the lane. It was Mr. Waddle and his faithful attendant, the fat boy. "Why, where have you been?" said the hospitable old man. "I've been waiting for you all day." "Well, you do look tired." "What? Scratches? Not hurt, I hope, Well, I am glad to hear that. Very. So you've been split, huh? Never mind. Common accidents in these parts. Joe, he's asleep again. Joe, take that horse from the gentleman and lead it to the stable." The fat boy sauntered heavily behind them with the animal, and the old gentleman, condoling with his guest in homely phrase on so much of the day's adventures as they thought proper to communicate, led the way to the kitchen. "Well, you have put to rights here," said the old gentleman, "and I'll introduce you to the people in the parlor. Emma, bring out the cherry brandy. Now, Jane, get a needle and thread here. Towels and water, Mary. Come, girls, bustle about." Three or four buxom girls speedily dispersed in search of the different articles in requisition, while a couple of large-headed, circular-visored males rose from their seats in the chimney corner, and dived into some obscure recesses, from which they speedily produced a bottle of blackening and some half-dozen brushes. "Bustle," said the old gentleman again, but the admonition was quite unnecessary, for one of the girls poured out the cherry brandy, and another brought the towels, and one of the men, suddenly seizing Mr. Pickwick by the leg, in imminent hazard of throwing him off his balance, brushed away at his boot till corns were red hot, while the others shampooed Mr. Wrinkle with a heavy clothes brush, indulging, during the operation, in that hissing sound which hostlers are wont to produce when engaged in a rubbing down a horse. Mr. Snodgrass, having concluded his ablutions, took a survey of the room. While standing with his back to the fire, sipping his cherry brandy, with heartfelt satisfaction, he described it as a large apartment, with a red brick floor, and a capacious chimney, the ceiling garnished with ham, sides of bacon, and ropes of onions. The walls were decorated with several hunting whips, 2 or 3 bridles, a saddle, and an old rusty blunderbuss, which an inscription below, intimating that it was loaded, as it had been, on the same authority, for half a century at least. An old 8 clock of solemn and sedate demeanor ticked gravely in one corner, and a silver watch of equal antiquity dangled from one of the many hooks which ornamented the dresser. "Ready?" said the old gentleman inquiringly, when his guests had washed, mended, and brushed and branded. "Quite," replied Mr. Pickwick. "Come along, then." And the party, having traversed several dark passages, and being joined by Mr. Chucum, who had lingered behind a snatch to kiss from Emma, from which he had been duly rewarded with sundry pushings and scratchings, arrived at the parlor door. "Welcome," said their hospitable host, throwing it open and stepping forward to announce to them, "Welcome, gentlemen, to Manor Farm."